Welcome to Brightly, You Radiant Being, the show that wildly recognizes, encourages, and invests in the radiance we all carry so you can shine your brightest. We're just a couple curious people interested in friendship, ideas, and personal development. This is a show that strives to speak to the curious, to those who long to explore new ways of thinking, reflecting, and being. Through sharing our experiences, friendship, and interests, we hope to impact you to step more brightly into yourself, inch by inch.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Amy. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. It's always good to see you.
Yes, happy podcasting.
Yes.
Oh. So last time we spoke, we talked about a brighten up and how to kind of use your goals around the person you want to be in life and your character to kind of brighten up your whole being and your whole self and help you achieve your other smarter, smaller goals. So I was wondering in that conversation, I brought up things that I say to myself before bed to kind of help my brain remember and kind of solve problems for me while I sleep. And you teased about how affirmations could help people brighten up or just reach goals in general as well. So I'm excited to hear from you today on what affirmations are and how they can help our community brighten up.
Yeah. And I'm sure everyone's heard the term affirmation, and I'm sure everyone has either read why you should or how they don't work or how they do work. There's a lot of information out there. And I think
I'm going to have to take notes. I've never read those.
Oh, okay. Well, now you'll see them everywhere. Now that I brought it up, you'll see it everywhere. Like, should you do it? Should you not do it? I think one of the problems too is that there is a plethora of affirmations. Just go on Pinterest and type in affirmations. And how in the world do you even choose which one you want? So I think sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I also firmly believe in affirmations and that they can be such an easy way. It's like that easy first step. It's just like a baby step in being the person you want to be. So an affirmation is basically, it's a positive declaration of a way of being said in the present tense as if it already is. So it's never something like, I will never get sick. That's not the best affirmation, because you're saying the word never and you're saying the word sick. And sometimes your subconscious mind gets very funny. It's a very funny editor. It's
it sounds like it sounds like you're calling in what you don't want, that you're going to be starting to see the things you don't want, that you're talking to the universe all the time about what you don't want.
Exactly. So every day you're saying the word sick, sick, sick. Oh no. So if that is something, just speak health. Say, I am a healthy person, like every day. And maybe if that's hard to believe, you could just say, every day I'm getting healthier. So to affirm, so obviously an affirmation is to affirm. It's like make it so, which reminds me of Captain Picard. It's make it so. So you're telling your subconscious mind to follow these directions.
You're doing it in such a gentle, happy, motivating, inspiring way that's not criticizing, talking about your faults or talking about what you're not. It's in the present tense as if it's true. Like, I think that's so powerful for your mind that it's already there. It already is. You don't have to do anything differently. You're just speaking it out into the world.
Yes. And your subconscious mind actually doesn't know the difference between like, this is really happening and this thing that you're saying. Like, it's just like, okay. Now, the other thing is with affirmations, what makes them even more powerful is if you repeat them. So every day, you're going to say an affirmation 5 times, the same affirmation. You're going to say it and say it again and again and again and again, 5 times.
So do you say it 5 times all together, like in the same 5-minute span, or do you spread the 5 times throughout the day and say it like once when I wake up, once in the car, once at lunch, once before bed?
That's a really good question. For me, I say it all at once because I have a specific sort of thing that ties me to it, so that once I do this thing, I immediately start saying my affirmations. And then for me, it's just, if I say one, it just automatically, it comes out again and again and again. It's like, and it was surprisingly easy to memorize the affirmations as well.
Oh,
But
I'm sure that repetition helps there with that.
yeah,
But that
yeah.
kind of, that reminds me, I'm wondering with the subconscious mind and the repeating it, I don't know if you ever watched Gilmore Girls, but there's a scene
Yes.
where the mother, the grandmother, Emily Gilmore, is taste testing soup. And she tries it 3 times. And the daughter Lorelai, of course, gives her grief over that and is making fun of her. And she's like, no, like the first, just kind of acclimates the palate. The second is to taste, and the third is to make your decision. And so I'm wondering, with your subconscious mind and with that repetition, the first time you're saying it, you're reading. You're not fully in the present moment yet. Like you're doing a task. You're just reading like anything else. But then I wonder if, as you say it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, if like that 5th time, you've gotten to like that level of ascension where your subconscious is like, this is true, this is real.
Crazy. I love
Oh.
that so much. I never thought of it like that. But I think you just hit on it, because I feel like the first time you say it, it's just like, this is the next thing that I say, right? This is like, so I've said my 5th time of this affirmation, then the next one just comes out. And then it's the second one. Yes, I get more invested in it. And sometimes, I add things like movement and things like that to them, but I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But absolutely, I love that. And so I think that might make it easier too for folks just to go, okay, I do have to repeat these, because if I only say it once, it might not actually latch in there
It's
as
kind of
well
like
as it
meditation.
could.
You have to get to that
Mm-hmm.
point where you can just like let the thoughts come up and go. And this is kind of the
Yes.
opposite. You have to get to that point where you're allowing this thought to come in, to like
Yes.
fully be present in what you're saying, and that
Yes.
it's not about like that check on my to-do list.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's
I
the difference, or is there a difference between affirmations and mantras, or even intentions? You hear those 3 kind
mhm.
of interchangeably used a lot, but how you said affirmations are affirming, it seems like
Mhm.
there is subtle differences between them all.
I believe, for me, and honestly, I think that where you hear people say this is a mantra and this is an affirmation, it comes from them. It's their personal perspective. I don't think that it's written anywhere. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, that this specific thing is a mantra, this specific thing is an affirmation. Because I believe that you could hear someone's mantra and you could make that your affirmation. So I would say, for me personally, affirmations, many of them are just reminders of kind of like what we were talking about last week, that brightened up. And I had never thought of it this way, but they're reminders of the person I strive to be, not the multimillionaire
Mm,
over
not,
here,
yeah.
the person I strive to be. So when we talk about things, when I affirm, I make myself a blessing to everyone I know and meet, and I do that 5 times, it is a reminder. And if I am behaving in such a way where I'm not, something clicks in and says, that's wrong. This is who you are. Oh, that's right. That's who I am. So I think that this really can help with that brighten up. But so for me, my affirmations are more that just kind of baby step next level, right? Some of them are a little bit higher. I would say a mantra is more sort of, it's almost like a mission vision statement, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
mantra is sort of like your vision statement. Like maybe a mantra could be for an overarching what you want for your life. Like, I can't
Kind of
even
like
think.
that statement you say when things get tough to push you through.
Yes,
Like it's
exactly.
more kind of motivating than it is those
Mm-hmm.
broader ways of being.
And it's what you have plastered on your wall, right?
Okay.
It's not something that you're repeating over and over again every day. And then an intention, Honestly, I feel that intention and affirmation work very well. And some of my affirmations have the word intention in them. So it's like my intention is to have spirit direct all my activities, or so, and of course I'm not saying everything in order, so it's coming out wrong now. But I think intention too is you can set an intention for the day, right? So you can say in the morning, maybe when you wake up, you say, my intention for this day is to try and meet everyone where they are. So that's your intention for the day, but it might not be your intention for tomorrow. Whereas your affirmations, I think your affirmations are said, repeated every day. And I repeat mine in the same order every day, 5 times each affirmation every day. And so for me, it just locks it in.
And now that you're saying that, to me, especially going back to that affirmation, is you're affirming to yourself something, and an intention kind of seems more outcome based. So an affirmation is going to be worded as if it's true, or it's just going to be a reminder of what is true. And it's going to help you, be that person. Whereas an intention is going to very specifically help you achieve an outcome or a goal.
Exactly.
And so I think they could be phrased similarly, and your affirmations could be smaller goals or could be broader, and same with intentions.
Yes.
But I think it's how you're phrasing it and what you want the outcome to be that sounds like it's like the biggest difference.
And honestly, I still think it's a very personal, and someone else can come to their own conclusion as well. One thing that I really wanted to stress with affirmations is that the reason why I don't do, like right now, my affirmations are not, I will be a multimillionaire by the end of the year. No, it's just not. Well, first of all, I guess it's just not, I guess I wouldn't obstruct someone. Right.
I want to be a multi-billionaire. There are a couple of Powerballs and other lotteries increasing in size.
But for me, the affirmations have more to do, like I said, with how I meet people and how I go about my day. Some of them are a little bit more aspirational. But when we were talking about last week, when we were talking about brightening up, and you said on your bright and shiny days, you wake up and it's as if everything's effortless, and that you look at everything in a positive light, and it's not just you. People meet you as if they are reflecting back to you that positivity. So what I would say is that affirmations actually help you create a higher frequency within yourself. Frequency attracts frequency. So just like if you're in a crabby mood and you go to the grocery store, even during a pandemic, you will meet crabby people.
Like attracts like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Energy matters. So it sounds like affirmations can really help you raise your vibration and be intentional with your vibration, just to kind of bring it full circle.
Yes. So when I was first introduced to affirmations by my mom, and actually in our notes, I put a little, of course, LOL, because I guess I have to bring my mom up every show. She is. And she's going to make another appearance towards the end of the show too, when I tell you about the card I pulled. Anyways, so she introduced all of her kids to affirmations back in the late 60s. Yeah. But when I just did a little research, and actually it wasn't me, she helped me. She helped me with that. It was a French pharmacist and psychologist, Emile Coué, who realized when he gave his patients their medication and gave them, what did he call it? He called it a positive automated suggestions, something like that is what he called it. And his affirmation was, every day in every way, I am getting better and better. So he would give them the medication and this affirmation for them to repeat over and over again every day. Every day in every way, I am getting better and better. I mean, that's kind of a perfect affirmation because it
Yeah.
can mean anything to anyone, right? It could be physical, mental, spiritual, your life around you. It's really interesting. So he's sort of thought of as like the father of affirmations.
Well, and
But
that doesn't
my
surprise me that it was somebody in the medical field who noticed
Mhm,
that, because they've done studies more recently than it sounds like his history, but people who go into surgery with a positive mindset, whether it's an affirmation or just a
yes.
belief that it'll be successful,
Mhm.
opposed to either worry or just a belief that it's not going to work, heal faster. So not only, does the surgery go better, but they heal faster than other people
Isn't that
given the exact same
amazing?
situations. It's and
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the documentary What the Bleep Do We Know? Last I checked, it was on
Yes.
Amazon Prime, but there was,
Mhm.
hopefully I'm not getting this wrong. Hopefully we can fact check and put in the notes if I do after the episode. But there was a Japanese researcher or somebody in Japan who, because, our bodies are composed primarily of
The
water,
water.
he does the study
Yes.
where he shouted angry words into a glass vase of water, and then he spoke nice kind words into a glass vase of water, and then there's like, the control group that nothing was said to it, and then they put it under a microscope, and like the difference at the cellular level of the water just based on the energy that was directed towards it, just from the speech and the words that they were saying, was so vastly different. The positive minded one, looked like the cosmos, just absolutely gorgeous
Right.
and radiant. um,
Right.
and
Right.
so I think of that when people say, speak to yourself as you would speak to your friend, like if you're catching your internal language
Mhm.
being negative or down, I think to that. But just imagine if, instead of trying not to be mean, we were intentional and scheduled in these moments during our day when we could affirm what we are and what we want to be as if it were true. This just seems like such a powerful practice to.
Well, and I really feel that if we do want to step into a brighter self, a next level self, become better, you actually have to take steps to do
Mm,
that, right? You have to allow space in your life in order to fill it with these other good things that could make a difference in your life. And so, if you can make time, I believe. Now, honestly, what I'm going to tell you is when I had a commute, it was way easier for me to do my affirmations because I would literally open my car door, close it, and before I started the car, I would start my affirmations. So I was just like Pavlov's dog. I
Yeah, you
had,
mentioned that last year to me, and it was the middle of a
yes,
Minnesota winter. And I was like, oh, well, I have a detached garage in an alley. So I have to sit in my car while it warms up. So I started doing my affirmations while my car
love it.
warmed up. And so in the
Yeah.
summer, I just look like the crazy lady in my shared driveway with my neighbors, just sitting in my car for an extra 5 minutes.
Talking to yourself. Who
Talking to
cares?
myself.
Nobody cares. So sometimes when I'm in my car, like I said before, I do like movement and action and stuff like that, like love and peace and abundance and all kinds of actions. But
What a way to
the,
make sure you're wholly present in it, though, and to like make it a part of not just your
yeah,
mind, but your being and what you're putting out into the universe, and just really energy
right.
based.
And so now that I've had some time to think about it, I need to create another sort of little when I, then I thing, because when I think about the car, I still have to be concentrating on what I'm doing, right? I need to be concentrating on driving and the cars around me. So I feel that if I could create space somewhere else and really incorporate movement or emoting or something to go along with the affirmations, that they would anchor in even more. Sometimes I do use scents. I love essential oils. So say I've got peppermint and I smell peppermint. While I'm saying the affirmations, later on, if I just smell the peppermint, that's a reminder as well
So it
of what
sounds
I've already
like
said.
you really build a routine around the affirmations themselves. So it's a
It's
conscious
a
part of your
habit.
day. So
Yes.
we actually have a question from a listener this episode. So
Yeah.
a former colleague of ours, a terrific friend and an amazing thought partner, Sue, reached out today to give us some feedback. And I was like, hey, what do you want to know about affirmations? And she
Ooh,
pieced
yeah.
together something I hadn't even thought about, but now that you're talking about it, it fits and resonates even more. So
Mm-hmm.
she's wondering if there is a relationship between affirmations and ritual, and are rituals physical manifestations of affirmations, or can they be? And that just felt so powerful. So I'll say that
Okay,
again to
that
give you time
is
to think about it,
powerful.
right? Is there a relationship between affirmation and ritual? And are rituals physical manifestations of affirmations?
So, Sue, I had not thought of that either. But now that you say that, all these little gears are just like clicking into place in my brain and my soul. I have chills because, plus, it's hard for me to even like get my thoughts together to be able to make a coherent sentence because so many things are happening right now in my brain. What Because I hadn't thought of this before, but now it makes me want to create this bridge because I feel that you could take your affirmation and then create a ritual around that affirmation. And the fact that you're saying it's a physical representation, or wait, is
Are
manifestation?
rituals physical manifestations of
Manifestations.
affirmations?
So I believe that you could make a ritual a physical manifestation of an affirmation. I even this is making me remember there is an exercise DVD. I almost said video. VHS
Film reel.
that yeah, exactly, that I get from the library every once in a while. Patricia Moreno, and I'm not going to get the name right. I don't remember the name of the exercise video. We'll have to try and remember that too to put in the show notes. But what she does is she has incorporated affirmations into the exercises. So the amazing thing that happens when you're doing the exercises, you get to a point where because I am not graceful and I need to be watching the instructor the entire time because otherwise I forget what comes next. But because she's incorporated the words with the movement, it becomes, you remember what you're supposed to do, and it's very powerful. Now, that's not a ritual, it's more anchoring in, but I feel like if you could create a ritual, you would anchor that in so deeply and that it would have no choice but to actually manifest in your
Yeah.
life.
When she asked that question, it made me realize. So, I sometimes, I don't always say my affirmations. I'm not as dedicated as you have been, but I find, there's a big difference between when I say them, a part of a routine and out of habit, and like, oh, I'm checking my list. Like I'm present in the moment when I'm saying them. I do them 3 times typically. And I'm present in
Mm-hmm.
the moment when I do it, but it's definitely something like, oh, did you do this today? Or, oh, go back and do this, or trying to find those moments in the day when I need them, or where I can be proactive with them. But I have kind of this shelf that kind of serves as like a little makeshift altar in my room with crystals and some artwork and a dream catcher and just all these different symbols for the seasons and the whatever cycle we're in the year. And I started doing or writing affirmations around kind of our cosmic season, so the astrological season, so that whatever I'm trying to affirm and how I'm framing my goals in my head kind of fit with what might be active in the energy in the air, what I might naturally be feeling or might be more open to. But I find in reflection today after she asked that when I put that postcard, I write them on a postcard, and when I put them at my altar, when I see it, I will light a candle. I'll light, like Palo Santo or something like that. And I'll sit and I'll say it, and I'll say it in the space in my room. And like the day has,
you made a flippin' ritual.
I made
out
a ritual.
Of it, Tracy.
Either the day hasn't started yet, or the day is now done, and I can just sit and soak in it. And it always feels great, just in reflection today. Like it feels amazing and powerful those times I do it, compared to the times that I'm like, oh, I can't leave my driveway yet. I have to do my affirmations first. Let me get my notes up on my phone. And, oh, I haven't written any, or, oh, this one, I'm recrafting them in the moment, trying to be, like I said, more proactive, and opposed to just like, no, like these are I'm affirming this before I go to sleep and when I wake up.
That sounds, obviously you did create a ritual around the affirmation. So there you go, Sue. Tracy actually had your answer all along, but we just didn't realize it. I love it. And I feel that, for goodness sakes, this is not another thing, like you said, that you have to do. Oh, this is what somebody says I have to do every day. I better do this thing. No, because then what good does it do? So if you come up with one affirmation and you create this beautiful space around that, how wonderful, and what a difference that will make in your life. I truly believe that. Honestly, I didn't start. I grew up with a mother who said affirmations. When she learned about affirmations in the 60s, she started saying them. She gave us she told us about it. The affirmation she gave us was, I like myself unconditionally, and we'd make fun of that, but we'd go around going,
same.
I like myself unconditionally.
Amy, so I'll one up you in this conversation. I was so sarcastic and so kind of anti that kind of philosophy that my mother bought me a demotivational calendar. So it was the same photos, but instead of like an eagle soaring in the sky, it was actually running into something. And then it would just have like kind of the antithesis or like a sarcastic phrase. I still have them somewhere. I'll find them and I'll share them with you. But, and that was just out of humor. It wasn't like I read the calendar every day to feel crappy. Like it was just, I thought it was so funny. And I'm sure a lot of people have probably, have seen like, is it Wayne Dyer? Is that his name?
Yeah. Wayne Dyer.
Mm-hmm. So typically gyms and a lot of yoga studios and, spiritual retreat places will have a lot of his quotes up. And I was more like introduced to the concept of an affirmation in a terms around goal setting for Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. He has those savers.
Oh, sure.
So silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and then scribe, because W doesn't really fit, right? Journal doesn't really fit in any acronym. Well, savers was easier to remember, but so, I started first kind of doing it with that, but then it wasn't until a year or two ago when you did an affirmations and essential oils Facebook class that I realized I've been saying the negative stuff. And so just reframing it. Yeah, okay. I was saying, I don't have any more debt. And so that seems really, really positive, but that is not, I am prosperous and abundance and all my needs are taken care of. Like there's a huge difference.
Exactly.
Like one of them means I have to have debt in the first place. Like I'm kind of cyclically just like regularly enforcing this concept of debt in my head. So thank you for that positivity and as if it were true. I was also, some of my goals or how I was framing them was around my goals, like just around, what I wanted to be and what I wasn't, instead of like in the moment, in the present as now, which I think is the biggest thing for an affirmation versus a feel-good statement.
Right. Because if you're constantly talking about how you want to be in the future, your subconscious is like, got it. You're never going to get that because it's always going to be in the future.
How do you create those that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easier than what you think. And actually, I'm going to back up just a second because I want to go back to that I like myself unconditionally affirmation. And also the fact that I didn't start saying affirmations till I was in my late 50s. And that was with growing up with a mother who said affirmations every day. Because part of the problem was she said the affirmations that she learned in the 60s. And yeah, maybe she tweaked them and added some and dropped some, but they just didn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
I just didn't, what? I don't know. It didn't resonate with me. I didn't care. And also sometimes if you say, I like myself unconditionally, sometimes your internal editor goes, no, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. So I finally realized all you have to do is just tweak it a little bit and add, it feels good either to or when. So maybe if you're not believing that you're like financially abundant, you could say it feels good to be financially abundant, because anywhere inside of you, you bet it probably feels good to be financially abundant, right? That doesn't sound like a lie. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lie. So if things are sounding like a lie to me, to me or to you, and it just feels like too much of a strain to say it, just add, it feels good to or when. So to create the affirmations, just make a list. First of all, make a list. Like, how do you want to show up every day? What is the very next level you? What don't you like about yourself? But just like baby steps. And then, so one of the examples that I'm going to use is public speaking. Now, this actually was an affirmation of my mom's that I did take, because the first time I went to speak in front of our organization, it was a group. It was the first time I was speaking as a supervisor to supervisors, and it was the whole management team.
That's a lot of people.
And I thought I was going to die. Like, I literally thought I was going to die. I'm okay if I'm with hundreds of people and I have a question. I can absolutely be like, but what about blah, 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 blah. But to have to go up in front of them. So it felt like I blacked out. So I'm in front of people. It felt like I blacked out. And then I said something like, I could tell you that, but then I'd have to kill you. I literally said those words. People laughed. And then I don't know, I was sitting down again. And so I said to myself, maybe I actually need to say this affirmation. And so one of my mom's affirmations that she had received was, I'm an excellent speaker, well prepared, logical, and completely at ease in front of any group. So I took that and I said it for a while. And then all of a sudden I went, that's not me. Yeah, I can be logical. You
have those strengths and skill sets, but that statement does not sound like you.
Not always well prepared and not always logical, but for sure try to be hilarious. So I was like,
great on my feet.
Tweak this. Exactly. So now what I say after I like really thought about it, like what kind of a speaker would I want to be? And then it became mine. So now it's not just speaker. It's also because I do want to be an author. So I added that in too. I like sneak these things in. If you're going to the store, get this for me, right? So I snuck in speaker, author, podcaster.
Wow, so which you are.
Now the affirmation is, I'm an excellent speaker, author, podcaster, well prepared, of service, because that's really important, logical, hilarious, because that's important, creative, because that's important.
I created something similarly before for the podcast.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this a little bit in the first one. You know, I'm a Virgo, so I do really well in the planning stage and then in the after analysis stage. The doing stage, no, I don't get there. I have to rework the plan. I can't.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
I do the doing, but I do it like blacked out apparently.
And so you like, you know, and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler always say this, you know, start before you're ready. And so your enthusiasm and like readiness to do this kind of pushed me to it. And so before our first one, I'll have to go back and look because I don't say it regularly because this is just a conversation. I love this and I hope other people are enjoying it too. too. But it was,
Yeah.
I share my ideas openly, freely, and enthusiastically, because
Oh, I love
enthusiasm
it.
was one of our things. So I like
Yes.
that because it wasn't limiting it just to my speaking. It was also in my prep work for you when I'm researching ideas or thinking about things. If we ever, start some sort of written form of what we're doing when we get the website out, I wanted it to be more about sharing ideas in
Yeah.
whatever way.
But it
Because,
also feels like it would be in your personal life as well.
oh yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I honestly, what I would say to everyone is, like I said, think about how you want to show up. So whatever, I don't know, but write one affirmation down
Well, it's kind of
and
what is your
try it
desired
out.
end state, right? So if we're starting with a
Exactly.
goal or going back to last week's episode around the brighten up of, character and who I want to be in the world, start with that desired end state and work backwards. Or even I look
Yes.
at so I do so my goals are kind of framed within that Hal Elrod Miracle Morning level 10 life. So it's just these 10 different categories of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll look at those goals and then I'll see where I need or want or where an affirmation just kind of naturally is. So even like I have a master list of affirmations just for like when I need it. And when I super Virgo over here. So they're categorized: life, body, mind, soul, love, career,
Love you
prosperity,
so much,
release,
Tracy.
community, and miscellaneous. Like it's just, if I'm feeling like something in my career isn't going well, or let's say there's a new job opportunity I want to do, or in my current role, sometimes I have to present to some pretty
Right.
high ranking, important, highly intelligent, hardworking people. And
Right.
it's having an affirmation that I go to my OneNote and I type affirmation, I go to the career section, and then I just scan what fits, and then I tweak it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and then anytime I see anything, like you said, on Pinterest or Instagram, I have a place to dump it, so that I don't forget it and it's ready and waiting for me when I need it.
And I would say almost every single one of my affirmations, I saw a form of it somewhere and then I made it my own, because that is how it resonates with you then. But the other thing I would say is you should have a core group of affirmations that you say every day, and don't skip around a lot with those. Now, if after a while, one of those affirmations or two no longer resonate with you, you can either tweak them, change them, remove them, put something else in. But what I wouldn't do is say an affirmation for like 3 days and go, nothing's happening.
Oh, right.
That's not how it works. It's going to take a while.
Time is a social construct. The universe is working on
Yes.
it, and you have to keep doing.
So anyways, yeah, just start with 3 affirmations. Just for those 3 things that we talked about. How do you want to show up? What's the very next level you? And what don't you like about yourself? But write it in the positive.
So
Make
can
sure
you
it's the
help me come
positive.
up with one? Because I have like those 3
Yeah.
questions you just have. I have one that I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't sat down
Yes.
because I've kind of been avoiding it, because it kind of goes back to that shadow work that I did, how I identified it in
Yes.
the first place. And so it's a little
Yeah.
triggering yet, but I feel like a positive, affirming, present focused, desired end statements will help me get through that
Mm-hmm.
shadow. So I may have mentioned this in a prior one, but so this year, and especially after the year we've had, the year who will not be named, I want to have and be more fun, carefree, lighthearted. I've always been a very, I'm present-minded, but like too in the details, too analytical. I anticipate far too much. I want to have fun. I want to not feel so weighed down.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a way? So how do you want to show up every day? I want to be fun. I want to be lighthearted, carefree. And it's also about like helping other people feel that way too. Cause I'm sure when I show up in, the lowest vibration of all those things I just described, that has to bring the room down. It's about that enthusiasm that we strive for,
Right.
that
Yeah.
next level
So
me.
a couple things come to mind, and it, of course, like we talked about, it has to resonate with you, but we could use sort of the intention mode. So you could say something like, my intention is to present. No, my intention is to
Embody?
have, oh, you could say embody.
Have.
My intention is to embody natural fun and lightheartedness. I mean,
Okay.
because you want it to be natural too, right?
Yeah.
So you could do something like that. That's a starting point. My intention is to embody natural fun and lightheartedness. Or you could
Yeah, because I don't
say,
want to like go around, you know, like when you look at different types of joke and humor, I'm not trying to be the clown, you know. I try and be
right.
witty and clever at times, but like I'm not trying to like be big, you know, I'm not trying to go into the room and change it from the
Mm-hmm.
mood that is, but I want to be fun in the moment. Like
Yes.
even in these higher power meetings, those people are really funny, and they, you know, even with some serious topics, they're still able to kind of have fun with the relationships of each other. And I just kind of feel
Yes.
like lately, because of my anxiety, especially in that situation, I'm outside the circle, and I don't have to be. They're welcoming.
No,
You
you
do it.
don't. So another way to put it too could be, every day I am open to more and more fun,
Ooh, I
or
like that.
something like that. I love it. Taking notes as we speak.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah. And honestly, you look at both of those, and like I said, this is just a starting point. And then you could create, so one could be about fun, one could be about being carefree or lighthearted. It doesn't have to be in the same one. I have one affirmation that I say that says, I am and I attract. And then I go through all kinds of different things. So you also could say, I am and I attract.
I'm probably going to steal that for something else. What I like about the every day I'm open to more and more fun is it's not person specific. So I could be having fun on my own with, especially after the year we've had. I feel like that's the heaviness, is I am now responsible for everything about me. You know, like I don't have people to play off of as much. You know, I am my own entertainment 100% of the time. Or, you know, I want to be in that fun place when I do get a chance to, you know, Zoom, FaceTime, you know, whatever with friends or colleagues. But I like this because I just even saw something on social media today about board games for 1 to 5 players. Like, and how this person was speaking of them is that these board games are a blast by yourself. And as much as I want to have fun with me, but I also want to, when I do play it with other people, I want to be really good at it too. So it's kind of twofold.
You're hilarious, you Virgo.
I can have fun and I can get strategically good at a game.
Exactly. I love that. I love it.
So what are a few of your other ones? I know I bring up a lot that the one that you shared, my favorite one.
Yeah, the Brandi Carlile. I did get it from a Brandi Carlile song. I kind of bastardized the lyric from the song. That wasn't me, but I make myself a blessing to everyone I know and meet. And that one, it's just, first of all, it never feels like a lie. I don't know why. Even if I've just yelled at the person next to me in the car, then I go, wait, I'm a blessing. And the next person I won't do that to. It gives me such a secure feeling when I say that one. And then it's funny that
when I hear it.
It is very comforting. It's very comforting. Because
a blessing can be any level of things, you know, like it doesn't have to be a grand action. It can simply be a non-reaction. You know, it can be making more space for that person to go through what they're going through. And you being a blessing can just be to allow it. And then I also like it too, because everyone I know and meet includes yourself, you know, so what a great reminder to be a blessing to you.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Thank you, Tracy. That's very cool. Yes. And then I love it that you brought up Wayne Dyer, because the next one that I first got it from, part of it I got from him, and then I changed a little bit of it. Again, apparently I have to change everything. But it did
Personalize. You
come
are
from the late,
personalizing.
yes, it came from the late Dr. Wayne Dyer. My intention is to love and radiate my love to my family, my friends, my colleagues, and anyone who hears or reads my words.
And I mean, he achieved that, so you know it works.
Right? Yes. And this one helps me remember that it's not just the people that I normally would be in my circle of love, that whether I love them or not, I can still radiate love to them. So it sort of is a way to, it's almost like a love thy neighbor type of thing, but it's more like I can radiate out love to someone whether I agree with them or not.
Yeah.
So
the only thing we don't tolerate is intolerance, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So what about you? Like, do you have any favorite ones?
Yeah, there's there's actually a quote, whenever people are like, what's your favorite quote? It's the one I whip out all the time. And then everyone's like, ooh, that's a good one. And I realized, in our talk today and in other talks about affirmations we've had personally, it's totally an affirmation. I might have to tweak the wording. Maybe you can help me make sure it is in the right headspace language for it, but be kind to the person you will be tomorrow.
Yeah, you've told me that one before. I can't believe I forgot it. I love that one.
And one way that I've started phrasing it for people, especially with all the different responsibilities and tasks and we have and how life is different right now, is tomorrow you isn't going to want to do the dishes any more than today you. Like, that's a really concrete, real world example of you're tired now, just do it and don't suck the energy from tomorrow. Like, why start tomorrow already at a deficit of something you have to do that you don't want to do tomorrow either? Like, I don't want to do my homework tomorrow, but you know what? I'm not going to want to do it 20 minutes before class either. I'm going to be kinder to myself by doing the things I need to do. But it's also in a way of, like that, be kind of the person you will be tomorrow, setting big life goals and doing the things to reach them, working out every day, some form of movement, some way. You don't have to be taking a HIIT class. Get those 10,000 steps, get up for 10 minutes every hour, little things like that. Be kind to future Amy, future Tracy, future Sue.
Put your affirmation card on your altar and light a candle and
say your
meditate
affirmations
on that for a while. Yes, there you go.
And then, there's another quote that people say a lot, and I kind of, I put I in front of it and I use it as an affirmation is,
sure,
I make the rest of my life the best of my life.
Yes.
So I'm, instead of just like, the people, saying make the rest of your life the best of your life, I'm just telling myself I do this. And then kind of a few like actual affirmations that I've like sat down and crafted and, like you said, you kind of beg, borrow, steal from other people, but I give freely and fiercely into life, and life gives back to me with magnificent increase.
Nice.
Today I radiate joy and share it with others.
I love it that we both have radiate.
Radiate, always on brand. I didn't even notice it at the time. It wasn't intentional, but I will take credit now. And then finally, I have plenty of time to do what I need to do. Time expands for me.
Okay, I'm definitely stealing that one because I feel that even today, in this day and time and pandemic time, where you'd think you had more time, it gets eaten up by stupid little things, right?
Or just different new things. It's not that you're living life differently, so different things are going to factor in. For me, where it's most powerful is, I kind of struggle with adult ADHD. That was kind of unchecked as a child. So a lot of, bad habits and negative self-talk around that. And so I'm constantly kind of losing time in a regard, or I'll just sit and just think about all the things I'm not doing because my brain is so scattered. It's not seeing, we do have enough time and we can logically do things in this way. Instead, it's everything at once. And then on the flip side of that, the more positive, maybe the Sagittarius side of me, or for human design, the manifesting generator, which I know we both share, I'm interested in everything. one of my least favorite things to do is prepare for like the talking stage of dating, because I don't know what to say. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by anything. I used to work in a library. I would sit down and read anything. When I worked for an insurance MGU, I would sit down and read everything. Like I like to read. Every single hobby sounds fascinating, and maybe it's the ADHD, but I just like deep dive. We've talked about this before. I always have like 40 open tabs in my brain, let alone my computer is far higher than that. The amount of bookmarks, and you've seen my Pinterest page, the level of categorization and different interests and subcategories and hobbies and things I want to do.
Look, I'm just going to tell the listener that I discovered things about Pinterest, and I've been on Pinterest for however long Pinterest has been. And Tracy's boards have categories and subcategories and I was like, I didn't even know you could do this with Pinterest. And I was so impressed, but I get it. I understand like a lot of interests, but I'm wondering then, I'm going to throw this back to you, Tracy, that you take that last affirmation and you get serious with that, with saying it every day, saying it with maybe some movement, maybe a crystal, in your hand, and just really dig into that, and maybe only choose the ones that you just shared and do those every day. And maybe for you, it's 3 times, each one 3 times, but dig into it for a month, 30 days, and just see if there's any kind of difference with anything. I will say when I took that, well, and I will actually say when I did do this public speaking one and started adding that to my repertoire, that it wasn't immediate. Let's not get crazy, but it was maybe a year and a half later that my sister and I spoke at a function for my mom again. We were actually, I can't remember if we were celebrating something, a book launch or something. And she and I got up, and there was probably, once again, like 100, 125 people there, and spoke about her in front of all these people. And I was absolutely fine. Was I a little nervous? Sure. But I didn't black out, and I knew what I said. So it did make a difference, and I'll say that. So
that time one will really, saying it now in advance, even if I'm in a good place or not feeling overwhelmed, or like I have a good routine going and other habits, it'll really be beneficial on those days when I most need to hear it. It's already a part of my ritual and my day and what I'm doing, that it'll help future Tracy that much more.
And, I'm glad you brought that up, because honestly, if you do get something that triggers you as well, to say them every day, so that it's like, oh, this is the time for my affirmations, that even on the day you're like, I don't feel like saying them, you have to. There's something inside of you that's like, no, I'm sorry. You can't go on. You have to do it. And one thing that I want to reiterate is the saying it in the positive and as if it's already happening. And also it is, we say bad things about ourselves all the time. So why not say good things? But I do have a great quote, and I'd love to share that with you. I'd love to hear it if I could. So here's just a little bright spot. The words I am are potent words. Be careful what you hitch them to. The thing you're claiming has a way of reaching back and claiming you. And that's by A.L. Kitzelman. Yeah. So every time you say, I'm stupid. I keep forgetting that. Why am I? So it's either am I or I am always doing this. I am such an idiot. And we say those things so easily. They just fall out of our mouths. And by the way, I didn't mean any of those things, universe, if you were listening, or subconscious mind. I'm just saying an example. So be sure that when you are talking about yourself, you're talking positively.
the claiming, reach back and claiming you, because on the flip side of that, this, what you aspire to be, you know, who the bright, shiny, radiant being, you know, what lights you up is going to come and claim you. Like, what a powerful statement.
Yes.
It's just, it reminds me of something I heard today. You know, a lot of people talk about the law of attraction, which is great. You want to attract things to you. But there's this other concept that seems to really resonate with everything you've brought up today around the law of resonance, which is you call in what you are, you know. So it's kind of like that fake it till you make it thing and then you are it, because what, you know, whatever level you're at, you're going to vibe there until you ascend, until you level up.
Yeah, that gives me chills. I love it. Another thing, I just want to let people know nothing's set in stone. And like I said earlier, if something doesn't resonate with you, then don't say that affirmation anymore. But
and
give it a little bit of time.
Yeah. So with the time thing, if it's not resonating, you know, I like to, you know, I remember I was in therapy in this session, and we were kind of talking about something, or like different things we could talk about. Like, we kind of wrapped up a chapter, and he's like, okay, well, what feels good? And I was like, well, actually this one thing feels really abrasive. So it's probably what I should talk to the guy I'm paying to help me become better. And he said he just loved that. He's never had anybody like you. I hate this phrase because of how it's used these days, but you got to lean into it. So, you know, if it doesn't resonate, is it because it's uncomfortable for you to go there? Is it because it's bringing things up and you just need to find ways to retweak it and reword it to fit, you know, kind of like how you
do you need to add those words? Do you need to add those words? It feels good to, or it feels good when whatever.
Does it not resonate because you've outgrown it? There's something else that has to take place first, or you're just not interested. You know, disinterest is different than I'm having a hard time doing this every day.
Right. And just so everyone knows too, some days I can absolutely I like myself unconditionally. And then the next day I might have to say, it feels good to like myself unconditionally. So I do have a back and forth with that part of it. So I will say that.
With this then, have you pulled a tarot card for this topic for affirmations? What's come up for, what's the energy?
It's the Queen of Wands.
Ooh, look at her presiding.
Look at her. Look at how happy she is. I love the little cat in front of her. Looks playful and mischievous to me. And then the sunflowers in full bloom. The two lions. And actually there's two lions above her head dancing.
And wands overall are kind of about magic, manifesting, calling in, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that they can be about creativity as well. The thing that struck me, so this, you know, confident, self-assured, passionate, determined, charismatic, optimistic, all things you want to be, right? Well, maybe not completely, but some people, I'm sure.
When I think of her in her throne with her staff, you know, kind of presiding with like this sunny, fully kind of self-actualized. Like it's just determined, but that's also my word of the year. So I might be projecting, but it just kind of, she's just shining bright, which is on brand for us. So thank you, tarot deck. Like,
yeah, I love this so much. And for some reason, it was just that little cat just made me smile. But the other thing, when I was reading about this card, it said, so one book I was reading said, the queen is described as statuesque, a woman who shines in her endeavors, a lioness. So once again, I was like, oh, it's my mom. Because
that's beautiful.
My mom was a Leo. And of course, she shone in what she did. She was a public speaker and a lot of different things, but she actually did look like a lion and had been described as lioness as well, because she had somewhat of a larger face and she had this hair that was just magnificent. And she actually did look like a lion. So I was like, Mom, you just want to be a part of this, don't you? And so
She was
we're letting her
magical.
be yeah, exactly. So
She's our third
I like
co-host.
that. Yes.
That's beautiful. I mean, just to kind of draw it all back then, like the Queen of Wands is kind of about this power and power of self, I'd say. And so these affirmations, affirming who you
Yes.
are and who you want to be, that's a power you have within you and that you can absolutely drop
Exactly.
and not control, but have within you and make movement with that.
Yes. And you know what else I love about this card when I was thinking about it? So the wand has a few little, sprouts on it, right? But then she's also holding a fully bloomed sunflower. And then there's two sunflowers behind her. So it's sort of like the beginning of the affirmations. It's sort of like those
Oh.
seeds that you plant, right? And then the fulfillment of it is this fully formed flower. And so you
But
think about,
sunflowers are also yellow, and as is her dress that you just shown, and
yes,
that's her solar
yes.
plexus, and that's a lot where your confidence comes from, right?
Ooh,
For your
yes.
chakras.
And of course, that was one of the things my mom spoke about.
She had books on it and a t-shirt.
Gosh, it's
Well, thank you for
amazing.
pulling that card. And you're
Yeah,
wearing
that was
yellow today
fun.
too. You're looking
I
very
know,
Queen of
I
Wands
didn't even
yourself.
think about that. So, as we close up, I was looking forward because I had kind of forgotten what we were going to talk about next week. And then I saw it and I got so excited.
Oh,
So
should I tell
can you
everyone
just
else
give
so
us
they
a
can be
little,
excited?
yeah, give us a teaser.
So, a new cycle of the Wheel of the Year is coming upon us pretty soon, as well as Chinese New Year. So, there's kind of a lot going on with kind of, the cycle of the moon, as well as kind of just like the changing of seasons, kind of like the mini seasons that change in between the big four. So, I'm by no means an expert on this, but I've been diving more into living a cyclical life. So whether it's my goals or how I'm going after my big goals, type of hobbies I do, what I'm reading, what my expectations of myself are, I'm finding that the more I kind of go with these natural cycles that revolve around the sun and the amount of light we have, and again, we're in the northern hemisphere, so it'll be a little bit different if you're in the southern hemisphere, but I'm going to try and dive more into how you can get into that cyclical living when it comes to ritual, routine, and setting and reaching your goals. So I'm really excited about it. I'm, kind of as we prepare these episodes, I learn more. And then I have, of course, all the different things I've acquired in the past few years and I'm eager to share with you.
I'm so excited. And I feel like I also just want to share quickly that these topics that we dive into feel like really big topics. And so we will be revisiting them to add on and just say where we are with them and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah, and
super excited about
everything
next week.
as we get, Amy and I obviously, we do a little bit of pre-planning for the show and what we want to talk about and what we're interested in, what we want to share. But, these conversations aren't scripted. A lot comes up in the moment. And as we reflect on the conversations we've had, there's this arc of conversation. There's this running theme and this thread that's flowing through it. And we hope you're feeling that too, and that this is resonating with you and where you are, whether you've listened to all of the episodes or if this is your first one. That there's just all these little points of connection kind of add up for you to help you shine brighter.
Yeah. Thanks, Tracy.
Well, thank you. And thanks again, Amy, for sharing everything about affirmations today. I'm really excited to use some of your tips and tricks and hope the listeners got something out of this as well. If this episode spoke to you or your soul, please share it with a friend if you have time and give us some love. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, etc. It really helps us if you rate, review, and subscribe, and we can keep this going. And then if there's ever any ideas you'd like to hear, as Sue shared earlier, or just anything you're noticing about yourself or any, as Amy said, we're going to revisit this, but we'd also love to hear about your journey as well. Send us a message. We'd absolutely love to hear from you.
I am going to say this. Someone said, oh, where can I send a message to? And I think that if you follow us on Instagram, if you follow the Brightly podcast on Instagram, you can send us a DM there. You can ask a question on YouTube. Where else?
We have an email. We have a Gmail. I believe it's
That's
brightlypodcast
right.
at gmail.com. So
We will put that in the show notes.
I'll start adding that places for people. Great tips.
Yes.
I was really used to for the first week, it was just my mom and my sister. I'm actually, when my friends have been reaching out to me and talking to me about it, I forget these are public. So it's a great reminder. Maybe not everybody has my personal phone number. So, but definitely, as Amy said, we're on a lot of different social medias. You can let us know there. And we'll do a better job of advertising our Gmail as well.
Yeah. So honestly, as we close out, we just want to give you this little tiny affirmation to have a bright and beautiful day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.